Hello fellow humans, capitalism keeps sticking around for some reason, probably because capitalism looks more like a half-baked superstition rather than a wise economic system that really cares about all humans and the real world. Let's have some fun with the weird beliefs of your average capitalist. As always, you can find references in the description box below. Society is based on merit. I deserve what I have. I deserve what I have achieved. Payout rewards are commensurate with dessert. I'm not talking about chocolate cake and gelato, but another kind of dessert. That's something that is deserved or merited, both reward and punishment. This belief assumes a couple of things. We have free will. We are not born equal, except that maybe equal in rights, and only in certain countries. We are responsible for everything we make in life, both good and bad. We must be recognized in proportion to our efforts and abilities. And mortality cannot dissolve merit. Here are some consequences of these assumptions. Interference from the government is considered a form of punishment. Most capitalists do not like to pay taxes because they feel taxes attack their earned merit. There is no such thing as a society, but just an ocean of individuals, each getting rewards for their merit. A dog-eat-dog kind of society where the best man wins, and rarely a woman. All life is a race for wealth, for power, for status. Merit is the purest moral principle that determines the distribution of wealth, power, and status. Merit can be transferred across generations. You may wonder, why can the rich leave their wealth to their children? And in general, why does inheritance exist? It's a consequence of a dynastic way of thinking from history, where individuals belonged to multi-generational dynasties that accumulated wealth. So, if you die, you have the right to leave what you owned to your heirs. Wait, are we not born equal in rights? No, inheritance overrides that. Because, as we all know, wealth can always buy more power and therefore more rights from the moment of birth. Merit gives entitlement. The more merit you have, the more you are entitled to change the rules of the game for everybody else. You are entitled to do whatever you want in your company as CEO because you deserve that position. As a manager, you are entitled to hire and fire people because you deserve to do that. It's not just a function, it is also a merit. It's part of the status of that position. And now the criticism. Upon careful inspection, we do not have a functional free will in the scientific understanding. It feels like we do, but our behavior, both individual and social, is determined by the chain of causes from our past, from biology to parenting to culture and a bit of genetics. You do not deserve your wealth, status, or power more than you had a choice to be born white, black, human, ape, Einstein, or Stalin. Merit is a social construction that preserves a dynastic mentality which contradicts an individualistic mentality. Should we not all get at least approximately the same start in life? Then let it all play out according to so-called merit. Capitalists reply to this, nope, merit works sometimes with good luck, sometimes with bad luck. And that's how capitalists attempt to save merit, with the lottery of chance, which in reality is a sneaky way to preserve privilege. Markets are the best space to settle all economic interactions. Markets are not new to capitalism, but they are thought to be the best way where humans can satisfy their needs. Only I know best my own interests, right? Buyers meet sellers, and if they agree, they complete the transaction. It seems simple enough. When a price is paid, an agreement is completed, and needs were satisfied. Beautiful. Capitalism thinks intrinsically that most human needs should be solved by taking a product or service that is required by somebody on the market. That somebody pays the price, gets what they need, and everybody's happy. And now the criticism. Goods and services are usually an approximation of human needs and desires. A car, for example, tries to satisfy the need for transportation, the need for social status, the need to identify with cool machines. Needs are best defined by emotions and states of mind, not by objects or services. One human need is to have a roof over your head. But these days, housing is so expensive. Houses and apartments are on a market with prices that go up because they can, with complete dismissal for the actual human needs. Why is there a market for hospitals, or for schools, or even for land or water? Because capitalism says so. It doesn't have to be this way. Private risk is not the same as public risk. We are getting into murkier waters. When a large corporation is too big to fail, the government will step in to save the corporation. You've heard this before. Privatize the profit, socialize the risk. Profitability is an entitlement built into the rights of businesses. The role of the government is to create the laws and rules that allow businesses to exist and make a profit. The criticism: while it's true that most private companies have to make a profit in order to exist, not all companies are treated the same. Size truly matters. Allegedly, larger companies have more of an impact in society, so they deserve to be rescued. We are talking about corporate merit, which is earned just by being big. But if the government rescues a big bank in the name of society, should we then not share the profits of that company with the society? Why are the profits going into the hands of shareholders and executives while we pay for the rescue? This hypocrisy is purely political in capitalism and has no basis on universal moral values. Hierarchies must exist because they are natural. This is a consequence of meritocracy. Since we are not equal in merit, we will be placed by society in a pyramid of status, wealth, or power. But it's more than that. Capitalism claims the very human nature is based on unequal distribution of traits, both physical and mental. Therefore, not all humans are made equal and can never be equal in life. We must have billionaires because nature too has its wolves and its sheep. And now the criticism. The idea of hierarchies leads to absurd realities and contradictions. If someone is born with the intelligence of Einstein, but not with the talent to write computer code, they may never climb the ladder of wealth, power, or status. Hierarchies allow tyrants, criminals, and sociopaths to dominate over others because the system is designed to promote overpowering humans. Moreover, work from anthropology and archaeology shows that human civilizations do not have the same characteristics across generations. There are also many egalitarian cultures lasting hundreds of years where humans were considered equal with their peers throughout their lives. Nature must be owned and dominated. Capitalism sees nature as something to be taken and transformed to serve the needs of humans. Human needs, therefore, the economy, are detached from nature. We exist as some sort of lords of Earth, bestowed with the rights to extract, terraform, industrialize other species for food, modify the composition of the biosphere, demolish and construct at will, process materials and dispose at will, subjugate weaker beings of various degrees of sentience for some purpose that we fabricated. Some say the morals of capitalism are described by Max Weber, that there is some sort of divine origin for how this economic system came to be. The end mission appears to be not only the complete domination of the entire planet for its resources, but expansion into the entire universe that is eagerly waiting to be colonized and transformed for profit. What is wrong with this picture? Humans also come from nature and are nature. We depend on the biosphere to live and evolve. Creating a separation between humans and nature is denying the laws of physics and the law of evolution. The more we disturb the natural flow of these laws, the more we need to bring in more artificial corrections to maintain the condition for life. Monocultures are depleting biodiversity. Biodiversity is needed to maintain the flow of nutrients and minerals. Undoing the damage of monocultures requires significant effort and input of resources. Would it not be better to not disturb the ecosystem in the first place? Learn how to live with the given ecosystem, not against it. Monetary value is the best kind of value. Capitalism has this built-in predisposition to put a price on almost anything, because this is the easiest way to exchange goods, establish property rights, measure success, measure the size of the economy, and most importantly, create the sense of progress that humans have learned to need desperately. These items have almost the same monetary value of about $450 million. Can they really be compared in terms of what they mean for society? How is this value created in each case? Capitalism teaches us to ignore these questions because they are not easy questions. Just look at the price tag and you'll get a good enough feeling about the value of that thing. Even GDP, the number one indicator of the size of the economy, measures only things with the price that are bought and sold. If I paint for pleasure or make YouTube videos for free, they have zero value for the GDP because there is no price paid. It's the same with rainbows, penguins, these inedible fish, these pieces of ice, this sunset, and this cute bird. The criticism: money is like mathematics. The number 3 is not the same as these 3 apples. The number is an abstraction, a representation, a sort of language. Money is the same. They are not the real thing, fundamentally speaking, but rather a convention, a social contract made so humans can transfer things between them easier and faster in order to satisfy their needs or desires and achieve as much comfort as possible in life before their inevitable demise. But when money itself becomes the reality, the satisfaction of real needs becomes less important, and reality becomes dominated by mathematics. Capitalism is practically incapable of dealing with value without money. Incentives must be about creating new value. A capitalist enterprise can start when some smart humans identify or invent a need for which they create a service or product to satisfy. The business will get its feet off the ground only when the prospect of profit is strong enough. Profit is the fundamental incentive to start the business. The expression creating value for the shareholders means creating profit for the owners of the company or making more money from less money. All investing, from the stock market to real estate to cryptocurrencies, is about making profit and multiplying money. This eternal push for growth of value is the core belief of capitalism. To be clear, it is just growth in size. It is not evolution of the notion of value or the actual improvement of the quality of life. The criticism: again, value is equated with money. The raison d'être, the incentive for all capitalist enterprises, cannot afford to have other incentives than the making of profit. For example, if the need of a remote village was to have a running internet service, capitalists would not offer the service if they could not make more money than they put in. Capitalism uses the pressure of the profit motive to distort even the most selfless initiative to provide for human needs. If you want to do good in the world with your business, capitalism will punish you if you do not make a profit. The end justifies the means. Mantras like move fast and break things are quite common in capitalist businesses. The end goal is obviously to grow as fast as possible towards a position of domination on the market. Domination is yet another form of entitlement. It gives capitalists the power to avoid competition, manipulate the markets, avoid control. The rules of the game allow the rise to domination and encourage all players to at least attempt at winning the game. It appears anything is okay to be attempted all means can be deployed towards achieving the end. These means can be and should be deployed as rapidly as possible. Fast growth of revenue and profit will pay for whatever damage was created in the process. High growth rates can pay legal fees, can pay for highly talented employees, can pay for acquisitions of smaller companies, can pay for political bribes, can pay for political lobby. The criticism: show me a corporation that has grown faster than the average rate of growth of the economy, and I will show you that their growth was either immoral, illegal, or inconsiderate. Getting big fast while breaking things always has collateral damage. In the past few decades, this damage has become so huge, it has put humans on a path towards extinction. Whether we are talking about severe inequality or severe damage to the biosphere, the philosophy of the end justified the means is dark side thinking. Limits must be conquered. What is the end of growth? When will capitalists stop in their quest for domination? Never. Capitalism sees economic growth as its religion. Humans must expand into the universe. Humans must colonize everything. The game must be played until the end of time and space, because this is how reality works. Certainly, this is also the belief of the cancer cell. We see in choke point capitalism how Amazon gobbled up smaller companies, bullied the publishing industry, squeezed fees and profit margins from suppliers and customers, overworked and harassed its employees, all in the name of conquering the limits of markets and law. Wall Street wants to conquer the limits of finance. Big tech wants to conquer the limits of energy and information. Big oil wants to conquer the limits of natural resources. Big content wants to conquer the limits of privacy and personal data. In almost every industry we look, we find players with the same mentality of conqueror. And now the criticism. Ignoring limits means ignoring physics and science in general. When the biophysical systems and society in general are ignored, inevitably there will be adverse reactions. Employees will unionize and fight back. Supply chains will break. Oil rigs will explode. Data breaches will happen. Protests and riots will spring up. Nature will push back violently. Electrical grids will crash. Not understanding that both Earth and society have limits is one of the greatest delusions in capitalism. Democracy is only a political matter, but not economic. Capitalists believe that the allocation of resources is not a public matter, but a private matter. How a company is run is not the business of government or of society and even of the workers inside the company. When democracy was established as an official political governance of many countries in the 20th century, capitalists refused to allow the same principle to enter their companies. You may wonder, why can you elect a politician to govern over society, but you cannot elect a manager who has enormous power over your life? A politician has the power to change the law, which may affect you on occasion, but a manager has the unchecked power to promote you, hire you, and fire you. You can vote the politician out of office every 4 years, but you cannot vote out your managers. How come? This is how capitalism is, by definition, a totalitarian economic system. The power to set the course of business belongs entirely to the owners of the company and the company's executives, who are supposed to execute largely on the desires of the owners. Everybody else must execute the orders of executives, no questions asked. The criticism writes itself. Capitalism has evolved by linking property rights with power and capital. In other words, rules with ability and whatever capital is. This is possible simply because capital is coded into law to block democracy from entering the workplace. According to the code, workers enter willingly into the labor contract, so they accept freely this relationship of domination and the absence of democracy. It's like saying slavery was legal, so of course the master could do whatever he wanted. The notion that workers accept freely this contract is obviously another delusion. When we begin to allow true democracy in the workplace, that will surely mean the beginning of the end of the status quo. Rights of groups versus rights of individuals. When capitalists associate themselves in groups, also known as shareholders, they obtain special rights that are not granted to individuals. Corporations function like mini countries unto themselves, with their own governments, cultures, and rules. Here are some rights that corporations have, while individuals do not. The right to establish contracts without the consent of the humans affected by them. The right to exploit natural resources with impunity. The right to negotiate with foreign governments. The following are rights that are usually associated with individuals, but now are given to corporations as well. Personhood, free speech, freedom of movement with some restrictions. In the 2010 Citizens United landmark decision of the Supreme Court of the United States, the government is prohibited from restricting spending for political campaigns by corporations. In other words, corporations can buy politicians without limit because it is in the name of free speech. Corporations are considered people. Criticism. Important to remember that humans associate together in many ways to form groups, but only when the association is economic, in the form of a corporation. That is when special rights emerge. There's no fundamental reason to treat groups of people the same as individual people. This is a legal invention that was designed to give more power to the corporation and circumvent the rules of democracy. There's always a risk that the rights and voices of the individual will diminish when the attention of the law moves to the group. This was the historical mistake of totalitarian communist regimes. If we as a society want to add more rights to groups or individuals, they should never be made at the expense of other groups or individuals. The solution is more economic democracy, more power to more humans as individuals, and distribute it fairly. The future will save us, always. Many capitalists believe that the technologies and the inventions of the future will solve all our problems and life will be even better. The mission of capitalism seems to be a future of infinite abundance and complete satisfaction. These are the tenets of green growth and eco-modernism, which some may argue are the same thing. These ideologies claim that we can substitute natural ecological services with energy, technology, and synthetic solutions as long as they help reduce impact on the environment. The economy must continue to grow and can become greener at the same time. Criticism. Green growth and eco-modernism are delusions. Repeatedly, research has shown with strong evidence that we cannot fully disconnect economic growth from the environmental impact. The more the economy grows, the larger the effect on the biosphere. The more we try to increase the efficiency of our energy consumption, the more energy we consume. This is called the rebound effect. It applies also to almost all natural resources because this economic system is driven by growth and doesn't know how to behave otherwise. What is fascinating about this belief is that in 1972, when the Limits to Growth report came out, humans were having the same conversation. Their future, which is today, will be so much better. Technology will be amazing. Prosperity will be all around. Do you feel that now in 2024, we are in that future that humans from the 1970s imagined? We only kicked the can further down the road. These were 12 weird beliefs of an average capitalist that I came up while having a cup of coffee, but I'm sure there are many more. And we haven't even discussed contradictions, of which there are plenty. Share in the comments below what weird beliefs you have noticed so we can have even more fun. And of course, thank you for watching. Help us grow this community and support me if you can. When we reach 10,000 subscribers, I will be doing a monthly live stream where I will talk about what I have left out from my videos. See you in the next video.